Hello and welcome back to our online English class. Today we are going to go over lessons E and F in Unit 8. So go ahead and open your student's book to page 104. Page 104. Okay, so let's take a look at this cover letter together. And if you look at the questions here, we're just going to go over them briefly. But what is a cover letter? Do you know what a cover letter is? So a cover letter is a letter that we include with a resume when we are applying for a job. So we're just going to skip the rest of the questions. And in the past, of course, people used to have a physical cover letter, but now most people email cover letters, as you can see here. So let's look at the letter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read it, and you can follow along. Dear Miss Stevens, I read your advertisement online for a position as a teacher's assistant. I am very interested in this position and have attached my resume. I have been working as a teacher's assistant at Hilltop Elementary School for 3 years. In this job, I have taught reading and math to students in small groups. I have also tutored individual students who are having problems with the lessons. I'm very interested in child development, and I love working with children. I get along very well with my coworkers, and I'm also skilled at dealing with parents. I am planning to move to a new home in your district. I hope you will call me to schedule an interview. My phone number is 773-555-2673. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, Esther Yitbarek. Okay, so you can just see here briefly her objective, which is another thing we generally include with a cover letter or a resume. The objective is like the purpose, your goal. So what is her goal or her objective? And it is to obtain a position as a teacher's assistant. Okay, obtain means to get. And you can also see her summary of qualifications here as well. She was a teacher's assistant at Hilltop Elementary School for 3 years. Actually, not was, but she has been working as a teacher's assistant, so she still works there. And then she has taught reading in small groups. She has tutored students who need extra help, and she can speak both English and Amharic. And I looked it up, and Amharic is the language of Ethiopia. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and look at the next page. All right, so let's look at these questions. I want you to go ahead and take some time to answer these questions in a complete sentence. And then when you're finished, you can, you can press pause and then play when you're finished. And only do letter C. You don't have to do D. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at number 1. Who wrote the email cover letter? Okay, who wrote it? So we can say Esther Yitbarek wrote the email cover letter. Esther Yitbarek wrote the email cover letter. And then number 2, who did she write it to? Who did she write it to? Okay, so we can say she wrote it to Lynn Stevens. Okay, she wrote it to Lynn Stevens, or you can say she wrote it to Ms. Stevens. And then number 3, what position is she applying for? So we can say she is applying for a position as a teacher's assistant. She is applying for a position as a teacher's assistant. Okay, and then number 4, where did she hear about the job? Okay, so we can see that she read the advertisement online. Okay, so we can say you can just say she read the advertisement online, or you could say she heard about the job on the internet, or she read, well, not heard, because she read it. So you can say she read about the job on the internet. Okay. And then number 5, how much experience does she have? So we can see that she has been working as a teacher's assistant for 3 years, and I think that's actually, yeah, that's it. So we can say she has 3 years of experience. She has 3 years of experience. And then number 6, what are some of her skills? So we can say that, okay, remember, skills and experience is different. So they're different. So we can look for her skills, which are here. Here's one of them. She said, I'm skilled at dealing with parents. Okay, get along well with coworkers is more of a quality or a character trait. So it's not really a skill. It might be personable skills or personal skills. So if you want, you can include this too. So you could say she gets along very well with her coworkers. She is skilled at dealing with parents, and she can speak English and Amharic. So you want to include language skills too. Okay, and she doesn't mention it in the cover letter, but she includes it here. So it's good to include that as well. Okay, and then number 6 or 7. What is the purpose of the last paragraph? What is the purpose of the last paragraph? And that's right here. So we can say that the purpose of the last paragraph is to state her interest in the position again. As you can see, you can tell she is interested. She restates it actually because she stated it in the beginning. I am very interested in this position. So she states her interest or her desire to have the job. So you can say the purpose of the last paragraph is to state her interest in the job again and leave her contact information. Okay. The purpose of the last paragraph is to state her interest in the job or in the position again and leave her phone number or leave her contact information. But I'm sure there are many sentences that you came up with that are totally fine. Okay, so we're going to move on, but we are not going to do this activity. We're going to look at a worksheet. So let's look at this exercise. Complete the sentences, then write the sentences in the correct places in the letter. Okay, so first we're going to do this, and then we're going to put these sentences in the right places to complete this letter. So I'm going to give you some time to do this entire worksheet, and then you can continue. So pause and continue. Okay, so let's look at number 1. I am very interested in this position. Okay, so you can already see this sentence. And then number 2, I have enclosed my resume. Okay, just real quick, when you type resume in your computer, it's possible that it may not include the, I'm not sure how it is, what we call this E, but it has a mark on the top of the E. So when you see those marks on the top of the E, then we actually should pronounce it like E. So resume, resume. But if you see this word without the marks above the E's, then you can see that it just spells the word resume. So just be careful not to pronounce this as resume when you are talking about a resume. I've actually heard some people say this before. So be careful of saying things like, I sent the company my resume. You don't want to be caught doing that. That's a little embarrassing. But anyway, now when you type it in an email or a letter, or when you're texting somebody, it's okay to just leave out the marks above the E's. People usually know what you're talking about based on the context of the rest of the text. But it's probably a good idea to include the marks if you are formally sending your resume to a company. But that's just my opinion. So let's look at, and also there is a key or there's a way you can type the mark, because there are several words that are like this in the English language, which come from the French language, I believe, like cafe. It's C-A-F-E, but it has the mark above the E. So that's why we say cafe instead of just cave or calf. Okay. The number 3, I am skilled at teaching many sports. Okay, and then I also get along well with my co-workers. And then number 5, I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, and then let's look at the letter. So if you remember from lesson D, we read about Eugenia in the worksheet, but let's see. So it looks like she's applying for a position in a sports company, so a sports equipment company. So let's look at, or maybe not sports equipment, she's applying for a position as a sports instructor. So let's read it together. Dear Mr. Ferreira, I read your advertisement online for a position as a sports instructor. I am very interested in this position, and I have enclosed my resume. Okay. I have been working as a front desk manager at Island Sports for 18 months. In this job, I have learned how to help customers use the sports equipment. And then you can say, I am skilled. Let me move down here. I am skilled at teaching many sports. Okay, there's already a period, so I'll just move on. I also get along well, with my coworkers. Okay, I am looking for an opportunity to learn more and take on more responsibility in my job. I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, sincerely, Eugenia Chang. All right, and this is supposed to be a signature, which is why her name comes out twice. So this is the signature and this is the printed name. So I'm not sure if anybody is looking for a job. I know in the past we have had some of our students apply for jobs, and even some of you in my class right now have applied and gotten some jobs, so that's great. So this is just a template that you can use to write your cover letter, but it might be better to have a little more details, because of course this is just a very general application and very general skills, but it would be good to make yourself stand out from other applicants, of course, because people have to look through so many applications. So it's always a good idea to try to stand out. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and look at the next page in our student's book. There we go. Okay, so lesson F, another view. Let's take a look at this chart. Okay, so it says growth by major industry sector. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So you can see the percent change in employment of wage and salary workers projected 2014 to 2024. And you can see two types of industries. One is the service providing industry and another is the goods producing industry. Okay, so I'll just go through these really quickly. So you can see the healthcare and social assistance industry, construction, educational services, leisure and hospitality, financial activities, retail trade, other services, state and local government, transportation and warehousing, information, agriculture, manufacturing, utilities, and federal government. So these are the major industry sectors of the economy. So let's take a look at question number 1. Which service providing industry will most likely have the largest increase in employment? Okay, in employment. Did I say that correctly? Okay, yeah, in employment. All right, so this one is pretty easy because you can just go straight to the chart and you can see that obviously the healthcare and social assistance industry will most likely have the largest increase in employment. Okay, so it looks like a little over 20%. So you can circle letter C, and again, practice making sentences, complete sentences. So again, as I mentioned, healthcare and social assistance, or the healthcare and social assistance industry will most likely have the largest increase in employment. Okay, so take some time to complete this page. Actually, you can just do exercise A, and then when you're finished, you can continue. Actually, before you pause the video, let's look up here at the chart one more time. So if you remember from Unit 7, we talked about compound nouns. And compound nouns are noun plus noun combinations. So if you remember, we some of the examples were jewelry lover, and jewelry lover is a person who loves jewelry. And time limit is, you already know what a time limit is, but remember we talked about making definitions with the compound nouns. So a time limit is a limit that is related to time. And then store credit is a credit that is given by a store. But if you notice, store and credit are both nouns. So jewelry lover, time limit, shipping costs, cash refund, those are all two nouns. And if you look here, even these phrases, service providing industry, these are two nouns. Now, service providing is in the form of a gerund, but if you remember, gerunds they are verbs that act like nouns. So here, service providing is the gerund that is a noun, and then industry, which is also a noun. But if you remember, in noun plus noun combinations, the first noun becomes an adjective. Okay, so like jewelry lover, what kind of lover? A jewelry lover. A credit card, what kind of card? Credit card. So the first noun becomes an adjective, just like in this section, or for this phrase, service providing becomes an adjective, and industry is a noun, of course. Same thing here, goods producing is the adjective and industry is the noun. So just like we made definitions, I want you to do the same thing for these two. So what is a service providing industry? Okay, so answer that question using these words, just like, what is a jewelry lover? A jewelry lover is a lover of jewelry, or a person who loves jewelry. Okay, so you can use these words to make the definition. So go ahead and complete the rest of the questions and make sentences with, or defining sentences, like definition sentences with these two phrases. Okay, so you can pause the video and continue when you're finished. Okay, so now let's take a look at number 2. What percent of job growth will there be for teachers? Okay, what percent of job growth will there be for teachers? So you can't see the word teacher here, but of course teachers are part of the educational industry. So we can see that it's about 10%. So we can say there will be 10% of job growth for teachers. Okay, there will be 10% of job growth for teachers. Okay, and then let's look at number 3. What is not true about manufacturing? Okay, and so the answer is an increase in the percentage of change in employment is expected. And if you look at manufacturing, an increase is not expected. A decrease is expected. So we can say a decrease in the percentage of change in employment is expected. Okay, and then number 4. According to the chart, which of the major industries listed below project the least growth from 2014 to 2024? Okay, so if you look here, the least amount of growth is expected for these sectors is in the federal government. In fact, it's a negative growth, minus growth. So we can say, according to the chart, federal government projects the least growth from 2014 to 2024. Okay, now just a quick comment on the word project. So this is the main verb in this sentence. Now I know you are probably more familiar with this word as a noun, project, and in this case, in the case of a noun, we say project. So the emphasis is on the first syllable, so project. But when it's a verb, the emphasis is on the second syllable, project. Okay, project. And that's actually true of many words that can be both nouns and verbs. So for example, the word present. Now, actually, present, it can be a noun or an adjective. So it can be a noun if the meaning is a gift. So present, gift. And the emphasis is on the first syllable. Okay, and if you say present, like in class, when we say when we see who's who's in class, we might call out their names, and you might say present, like I'm here. So in that case, it's an adjective, but the emphasis is still on the first syllable. So nouns and adjectives often have the emphasis on the first syllable, and then as a verb, the emphasis is on the second syllable. So present means like to show something. So I presented my project to the class. So present, we say present, not present. And there's so many words like that, like contract, contract. Okay, let's look at the chart. As I mentioned, I wanted you to write sentences or definition sentences for each of these compound nouns. So what is a service providing industry? And what is a goods producing industry? So we can say a service providing industry is an industry that provides service, or we can say services. It's probably better. So a service providing industry is an industry that provides services. Okay, and then a goods producing industry is an industry that produces goods. Okay, and one more time, a goods producing industry is an industry that produces goods. So remember, industry is singular, so we need to say produces and provides. Okay, so go ahead and move on to our next video, part 2.